What's up, guys? Theo here, coming to you with a breakdown for Felipe Bunes versus Joshua Van. Let's kick this year off right, guys, and get it going. I'm going to try to do a breakdown video for every single fight on this card, which is something I haven't done before. So I'm just starting real low on the card. I'm going to work my way up, but let's get right into this breakdown. So right now, Joshua Van is a minus 235 favorite on DraftKings. Felipe Bunes is a Brazilian striker, and he is a plus 170 favorite in this fight. To be honest, the only reason that I can really see that Joshua Van is such a big favorite in this matchup is that he has UFC experience already. He has 2 UFC fights, one against Kevin Borjas, and before that, one against Zhalgas Zhumagulov. And he had finished most of his opponents in his pre-UFC fights very early. So he had round 1, round 2 submissions and finishes. And then he got into the UFC, fought Zhalgas, went to a split decision, fought Kevin Borjas, went to a unanimous decision. So he hasn't looked as impressive in the UFC as he did in his pre-UFC days. And he's being spoken of in this spot as if he is like a really, really strong lock. And I just don't really agree with that based on what I have seen from Joshua Van. I have not been very impressed with him in his UFC fights so far. I see a ton of vocal support for the guy online, in gambling spaces, in chats, on forums. I see a lot of people picking him, saying he's the best lock of the card, saying that he's got a bright future in the UFC. But I just don't agree with the public sentiment that I see for him. I don't think that he is as skilled as people are making him out to be. I don't think he's this big knockout threat. He didn't look as good against Zhalgas Zhumagulov, and I think Zhalgas is a good test of whether or not you should really even be in the UFC. So I didn't like that he went to a split decision with him. I was not impressed by that. I feel like for the amount of support that he is getting vocally and online, and as much as the UFC is pushing him, I feel like he should have kind of made that fight look very easy. So I think there's definitely a little bit of bias towards Joshua Van just on the fan side at the moment. And I just don't think he should be that big of a favorite against Felipe Bunes. Felipe Bunes, UFC debutant here, so this will be his first fight in the UFC, which is always a disadvantage for fighters. But he looked pretty good in his regional scene footage. He doesn't have the best record. He did take a couple losses in a row at one point. But in his last few fights, man, even though they've been against older competition, he looked pretty good. Striking, he looks very comfortable on the feet. He's got power. He's fairly accurate, and he likes to throw flashy kicks, flashy punches. And he's comfortable on the ground as well. I mean, he's not... he doesn't seem like a really great jiu-jitsu, really advanced, dangerous jiu-jitsu practitioner, but he seems comfortable on the ground, whereas Joshua Van seems to try to avoid the ground at most costs. And Felipe Bunes is the bigger fighter here. He is a couple inches taller at 5'8", I believe, 5'7". Joshua Van is 5'5". He's very small. And he's at a big reach advantage here over Joshua Van as well. He has a 71-inch reach, compared to Joshua Van's, I think it's 65 or 66-inch reach. So Joshua Van has a very small reach. And he's going to be fighting a guy who's comfortable on the feet, comfortable on the ground, and is bigger than him. And has been knocking his opponents out as well. Whereas Joshua Van's last 2 fights, even though they were against UFC-level competition, you have to look, he didn't really look very good against those opponents, in my opinion. His distance management is good. His striking defense is good. But he's not doing enough damage. He doesn't have the output. He's not winning big moments against these guys. And that's worrying because you should be winning big moments against Zhalgas Zhumagulov and Kevin Borjas. You shouldn't be having close fights with those guys and having this many people online talk about how you're a lock. He's absolutely not a lock. And I think I'll be picking Felipe Bunes here. Give me the underdog money. First fight of the card. I mean, this is the exact type of spot where everybody throws Joshua Van in parlays and just assume he's going to win because he's fighting this Brazilian guy. And you can just see it blowing up a bunch of parlays, man. So I've been looking for a chance to fade Joshua Van just based on the fact that, to my eye test, he does not look like he's as good of a fighter as everyone is saying he is. And when I see that, that's something I want to fade, man. especially on this card where there's not actually a lot of underdogs that I really like on this card, and I kind of think there's a lot of value on Felipe Bunes. Why not take that shot, man? I think we're going to start 2024 out with an upset. Give me Felipe Bunes to finish Joshua Van. Yeah, guys, keep it locked in. We're going to come with more fight predictions. Every single fight in this card we're going to break down before Saturday. Keep tuning in, guys.